She won't meet your eyes and declare, I want to sleep with you. Most women don't express their desires in that way, particularly in a society where taking the lead still carries stigma. She will instead utilize soft signals, issue subtle invites, and speak in coded language to see how you react. The worst part is this: she is not playing games. Rather, she is trying to preserve her reputation, guard against her weakness, and determine whether there is enough depth, conflict, and safety in the relationship to continue. You'll miss every single one of these green lights she's subtly tossing at you if you're not paying attention. Or worse, if you're chasing her too hard. A dot. And Stoicism is the answer to that. The true Stoic mindset, grounded awareness, emotional self control, and interpreting the present without forcing an outcome, not the rigid, emotionless cliche that most people imagine. A Stoic man doesn't desperately attempt to decipher every word. He merely watches, allows her to speak, and gives her a sense of security as she expresses her desire in her own words. A dot. A lady who is interested will say more than she wishes to acknowledge. You'll begin to hear what she's actually saying if you know what to listen for. In this video, I'll show you 5 discreet ways that women express their want to have sex with you without coming across as overt. These aren't conjectures. They are recurrent tendencies that males consistently overlook. After you comprehend these indicators, you will cease your quest for understanding and begin drawing in the proper kind of energy on your own. Are you ready? Let's begin. First of all, you're not like other men. Most men are thrilled when they hear a woman declare, you're not like other guys. A dot. It's a praise to them. Indeed, it is on the surface, but there is much more weight to that term than merely theory. It's among the least obvious ways a woman might tell you're different. Sexually as well as intellectually and emotionally, she is making comparisons between you and every other male she has ever interacted with. Men who might have been overly forceful, talkative, needy, or predictable. She's telling you that you've passed a subtle test by saying this. You've succeeded in making an impression without exerting too much effort. You have simultaneously aroused her curiosity and sense of emotional security. This is where most men make mistakes. When they hear that statement, they instantly project their ego into it. To retain her interest, they either start talking too much or, worse, start acting like the stereotypical knot of other males. A Stoic man, however, doesn't act in such manner. He accepts the accolade without becoming attached to it. He is aware that this is an invitation rather than the finish line. She wants to observe how you respond to the feelings she is experiencing. She will sense when you get clingy. She will lean in closer if you maintain your composure and the serene demeanor that attracted her in. I could see myself trusting you in ways I don't normally trust other men, she says with this sentence, and because you gave her the confidence to go there, that trust might eventually develop into intimacy on her terms and at her convenience. Let her speak. Allow her to express herself. A dot. You start sounding more and more like other males the more you try to convince her that you're different. You don't claim to be different, which is the secret. You demonstrate it by remaining still, showing that you don't require her approval, and paying close attention to what she says. Dot number 2. I don't usually do this, she admits, but she's not disclaiming anything when she says that. She is granting you authorization. She can subtly act on desire while maintaining her self-image by using this sentence, which is a classic example of plausible deniability. And this line serves as her emotional buffer in a society where people still condemn us for having too much sexuality. It enables her to proceed without feeling as like she is compromising her beliefs, her friends' expectations, or even her own critical voice. She is actually giving you the key wrapped in a ribbon of fictitious uncertainty when she says this: it's consent with a seatbelt on, not a question. Here, the majority of males make the mistake of challenging it. Either they remark, "Oh, really? You don't?" they ask with a smug smile, or they tease her in an attempt to lighten the mood. However, she is seeking presence rather than a response. When a stoic, grounded man hears such phrase, he comprehends the psychology underlying it. He doesn't focus on himself. He acknowledges that she is exposing herself in her own way and doesn't require encouragement to do so. A dot. A man like that fosters an environment in which she can remove the mask without feeling threatened. She is no longer required to act fake. She is free to feel without fear of criticism. Do you want an illustration? Imagine that after a night out, you're at her apartment and she's staring at you with those half-excited, half-anxious eyes. Then she says it. Your energy is more important in that situation than your words. Even though I don't generally do this, you take your time. You don't make jokes. You simply gaze at her, hold the moment steady, and allow the silence to last for a moment. That will make her feel secure. And for the majority of women, the key to genuine closeness is safety. Are you staying over tonight, 3? She will set the stage for her desires even if she doesn't always express them explicitly. Are you staying over tonight? Or a similar question may be asked by a lady. You don't have to drive home this late. You are not being offered a place to sleep by her. Without having to request it, she is establishing an environment where intimacy can occur. Despite being a simple logistical question, it's also a daring emotional one. And the explanation for why it appears this way is straightforward. She wants the situation to feel organic. She wants to believe that she didn't go too far, that it was mutual, and that everything just occurred. Nay, you simply happened to stroll through the door when she opened it. In actuality, the majority of women prefer not to make the first move towards intimacy seem overt or direct. Why? Because the fear of being condemned for moving too quickly still exists in 2025. Instead, she creates the ideal environment, prolongs the evening, pours another drink, dims the lights, and then says nonchalantly, "You want to stay?" Additionally, if you're too eager or preoccupied to pay attention, you'll either miss the signal or ruin the atmosphere by making it awkward. The offer is not immediately accepted by a stoic man. It's not strange because of him. He only responds, "Yeah, I can stay if you want me to," and then lets her set the pace. Her one statement is more about being present and being there when things happen than it is about staying over. A dot. And it creates the kind of trust that gives her the impression that you understand her when you handle that situation with poised assurance without having to push anything. A dot. You're not in a hurry. Not that you're calculating. You simply exist. She has been waiting for a presence like that to make her feel secure. This is probably not something we should be doing. She has already made up her mind and is merely trying to feel comfortable with the fact that we probably shouldn't be doing this. That expression refers more to a release-dotted quote-filled time where doubt and desire are dancing side by side than it does to resistance. She wants to follow the chemistry and let go at the same time. On the other hand, she wants to avoid feeling guilty the next day. Good morning. She is using this phrase as a means of providing herself with emotional protection. If you listen carefully, she's actually giving you the all clear, even if it sounds like she's stopping things. She simply doesn't want to publicly own it. The vitality of a stoic man is crucial in this situation. A man who learns of this and begins to comfort her or make an effort to persuade her. No, everything is all right. He ends up dying the moment he makes it about his desire by letting quotes simply go with it. A stoic man, however, does not press. The tension doesn't need to be resolved by him. He respects it. He does not rush to fill the pause. Instead, he lets it linger. And since it demonstrates that he is not dependent on the result, that stillness fosters safety. A dot. The quote is simply there for her to feel whatever comes next. It is not your responsibility to break the silence or advance the situation at that point. It serves as space holding. A dot. She's not asking for your approval, so sometimes the most effective thing you can do is stay close, maintain your composure, and say nothing at all. She's observing your response. You become the man she can trust enough to allow the rest happen organically. If you can manage that conflict in her, the part of her that wants it and the part that is afraid to want it without flinching. 5. If we were by ourselves at this moment, how would you respond? What would you do if we were alone right now? A lady says. She isn't searching for a fantasy tale or a joke. Her purpose is to take your temperature. Before anything physical even occurs, she is entering the intimate mental realm. Although it seems lighthearted at first, she is actually giving you the script and seeing how you respond to it. She's not merely trying your creativity, she is putting your poise to the test. Because she will sense it right away if you become uncomfortable, freeze, or indulge in excessive crazy imagination. She wants to know that you both feel at ease with sexual energy and that you can contain it without letting it blow up. In situations like this, having a grounded man makes all the difference. The question is not approached as a challenge by a Stoic. He views it as an invitation. He doesn't try to be too charming or grow agitated. He simply lets his presence do the talking. Perhaps he grinned, dot. Perhaps he leaned slightly in. Perhaps he says something subtle but self-assured like that. Do you prefer acting or teasing people? He then allows her to sense the strain. That's the strength of self-control. Because you're not performing, it makes everything more exciting. You're not pursuing the possibility. You're merely creating room for it. A dot. A fantasy window is what this type of question is. She is speculating about what it would be like to be near you, to have faith in you, and to observe how you respond to want. And it conveys more to her than words ever could if you can meet that intensity with composure, a dash of humor, and a great deal of presence. It lets her know you're not attracted to closeness. You're not pursuing it. It is where you reside. She wants to be there too. Disintegration of Stoicism. The D. You may be wondering how any of this relates to Stoicism at this point. We're just reading between the lines and deciphering flirtatious expressions, right? Stoicism, however, gives you the advantage in this situation because she always says, I don't usually do this. Alternatively, the question, are you staying over tonight, might be used to gauge your emotional condition. It's a test of your ability to control stress without responding, not that she's attempting to fool you. Being emotionally unavailable or repressing your feelings is not what Stoicism is all about. In emotionally intense situations, it's about controlling oneself to avoid collapsing. It's about letting the desire come and go around you without trying to force, chase, or control it. That's why Stoic males are so alluring at intimate moments. She can tell he doesn't require her approval by his calmness and grounded vibe, isn't scared of either conclusion, and doesn't need the moment to proceed in a certain direction. Despite feeling the draw and seeing the indications, he maintains his composure. And that presence becomes alluring in a world where the majority of guys either freeze or push too aggressively. She senses it. She believes she is free to explore her own desires. A dot. That is what builds trust. She wants to get closer because of that. She feels safe, not because she is being guided. It's choosy. A stoic man doesn't have to hurry. He doesn't have to impress or exert control. He just appears as himself, calm, lucid, and totally present. And it opens the door to something far more potent than mere attraction when she senses that. It creates a connection that can be comprehended without the use of words. Dot, dot, final dot. She whispers, "We probably shouldn't be doing this." Or she says, "You're not like other guys." She is not merely conversing. She says she's letting you in without spelling it out, hoping you're emotionally aware enough to understand her without needing a roadmap. These expressions are not arbitrary. They serve as entrances. Additionally, you'll miss what's on the other side if you move through them too quickly. However, you will be in the unique place where true intimacy occurs if you walk with a composed presence, listen more than you talk, and let her express her desire without feeling compelled. Being that kind of man does not imply that you always say the ideal thing. It indicates that you are aware of and respectful of the moment. You're not avoiding vulnerability or seeking approval. What sets you apart from other men is that it takes fortitude to avoid the need for a precise move or a creative line. Leave a comment if you've ever had these kinds of experiences. Those little words that conveyed everything without using words. What was stated? What did you notice? Or what did you fail to see at first? I'd like to know about it. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with someone who needs to stop chasing and start noticing if it helped you view women and yourself a little better, because ultimately, it doesn't matter what she says.